Fuck all your dad homies, nigga. I don't give a fuck who I'm talking about. Fuck all them niggas, nigga.
For years, 6ix9ine and Trippie Redd's feud has been pure chaos, but now it's taken the darkest turn ever. Word is, 6ix9ine finally got his payback after Trippie allegedly slipped up and confessed to being tied to the passing of his ex, Ariela. Picture this, the courtroom was straight madness. Trippie sitting there all smug, leaning back like nothing could touch him. Then boom, out of nowhere, he messed up big time. He said the quiet part out loud, admitting what folks been whispering for years, that he might have had a hand in what happened to Ariela Polanco, the same woman 6ix9ine called his queen of New York. The moment those words left Trippie's mouth, 6ix9ine snapped. He wasn't the troll anymore, not the rat the industry joked about, not the Fed's little witness. Now, right then, he was just a man filled with pain and fury, ready to swing on the dude who bragged about taking his woman. Bailiffs rushing, lawyers yelling, the judge slamming that gavel like it was a drum line. But 6ix9ine didn't care. He was locked in on revenge. Now rewinded. August 17th, 2025, early Sunday morning, Ariela found slumped in her white Benz on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. Bullet holes everywhere, glass shattered, seen straight out of a mob flick. Cops didn't even fake it. They called it what it was, a targeted hit. This wasn't no random act. This was a straight-up hit. Traffic froze, cars piling up, people hanging out their windows filming shaky clips. Within minutes, social media was flooded before the news even made it to TV. That's how wild it got. And here's what made it colder. Ariela wasn't just some nightlife face, she was NYC energy. She ran uptown like a queen, bartender at Opus Lounge, hosting events, showing up at Starlets, lights flashing everywhere she went. Her IG was booming with over 500,000 followers. Folks called her humble, a light, the star of Inwood. And she wasn't just turning up, she was a mom too. That's what made people love her even more. She could be in the club till 4 a.m. and still take care of her kid like a boss. Then came to remember back in 2023 when she appeared in his Wake video? The internet knew right then something was up. After that, she was everywhere with him. On his IG stories, at his shows, always by his side when the world turned its back on him. So when she was gone, Tekashi let it all out. He posted
twerking the 6ix9ine or Trippie Redd song like she was in the past. She pulled up and she's in bed with this motherfucker.
You supported me in everything. NY won't ever be the same. I loved you. Yo, me, Nori. That wasn't some industry caption. That was real pain, real love. But what really broke him were the whispers. Who did it? Soon as the news dropped, the blogs exploded with theories. Some said it was the 9 Trey Bloods out for revenge after 2019. Others said cartels or rival crews. But one name kept popping up again and again, Trippie Redd. And if you know the twisted history between Tekashi and Trippie, you already know why that rumor hit different. Back in 2017, they were supposed to be brothers, 2 SoundCloud kids with face tats, dropping polls 1-4-6-9 and taking over the game together. People really thought 6ix9ine and Trippie were gonna run the game together, 2 young stars riding the same wave. But that bond crashed fast. Trippie started dissing, saying 6ix9ine was not a real blood, just a rainbow mascot chasing clout. Tekashi clapped back even harder, calling Trippie's music mid and his numbers fake. From then on, it was straight war, both of them trolling each other non-stop on live. But it got way deeper than words. Trippie's crew ran down on 6ix9ine more than once, in hotels, in the streets, and 6ix9ine hit back the only way he knew how, public humiliation. The breaking point, Trippie's ex, Alec Dollar, ended up in bed with Tekashi, and the internet lost it. Memes everywhere, blogs on fire, even DJ Academics clowning like it was WWE. Trippie got embarrassed bad. So when Ariela lost her life in 2025, it didn't take long for people to start connecting the dots. Some said maybe Trippie saw this as his payback moment. Fast forward to the courtroom. Trippie on the stand for unrelated charges, paper shuffling, reporters typing, and Tekashi sitting there, hair tied back, eyes locked in like a laser. Then Trippie slips, maybe ego, maybe nerves, but he let something out linking him to Ariela's death. That's when Tekashi lost it. Witnesses say he gripped the table so hard his knuckles went white, whispering under his breath before exploding. Chairs flying, bailiffs jumping in, chaos everywhere. In that split second, he wasn't the rat or the troll. He was just a man avenging the woman he loved. And truth is, Ariela had already been caught in Tekashi's chaos before. Back in 2018, Ariela already brushed death once. The 9 Trey crew kidnapped her by mistake, thought she was one of 6ix9ine's girls. They tied her up in a car before realizing they grabbed the wrong woman. She made it out alive then, only to lose her life years later, in a way that felt way too connected. For Tekashi, this wasn't just street drama, this was personal. Now let's talk straight up hypocrisy. For years, Trippie called Tekashi fake, said he wasn't loyal, wasn't built for the streets, laughed at him for snitching and breaking under Fed pressure. But if you're really the real one, why go after a woman? Why target Ariela? Someone who never dissed you, never claimed a gang, never even mentioned your name? That's not gangster. That's coward stuff. And if that courtroom confession stands, it proves Trippie was the fraud he always said Tekashi was. That's why this story hits different. It ain't just another rap beef, it's a mirror of what hip-hop's been facing for decades. Tupac, Biggie, Nipsey, X, every time we say never again. Yet here we go again. Another life lost, another courtroom breaking down in chaos. Ariela didn't sign up for this life. She wasn't chasing clout or dropping disses. She was just caught in a feud that went way too far. And that's why Tekashi's reaction shook the room. For once, it wasn't about trolling, clout, or views. It was about raw pain and vengeance. When he lunged at Trippie, it wasn't just rage. It was years of humiliation, jokes, paranoia, and betrayal blowing up all at once. That was revenge, pure and unfiltered. And this? Oh, it's just the beginning. Next, we'll break down how Tekashi got pushed to this point. How the snitching, 9 drama, and courtroom chaos built the monster standing before us. Every bridge 6ix9ine burned led him right back to this moment, face to face with Trippie. That courtroom explosion wasn't some random meltdown. It was years of pain, betrayal, and rage finally catching up. If you want to know why Tekashi snapped like that, you gotta rewind the whole story. Back before the fame, before the rainbow grills and viral chaos, Daniel Hernandez was just a wild Brooklyn kid with neon hair, loud fits, and a dream way bigger than his block. No crew, no backing, just a look that could catch attention. But in New York, flash don't mean nothing if you ain't got real ones behind you. That's when he crossed paths with 9 Shotty saw something in Tekashi, not heart or loyalty, but potential. The kid had a wild image, a loud mouth, and a hunger for fame. What he didn't have was muscle, so 9 gave him that. In return, Tekashi gave them something more valuable: money. They made a deal. Tekashi would fund the crew, and they'd make him look official. They'd show up in his videos, scream Treyway in his songs, and give him that untouchable street look. Truth is, Tekashi wasn't putting in the work, he was bankrolling it. Even he later admitted it. He was renting the lifestyle, paying for credibility, and for a minute, it worked like magic. When Gummo dropped, it exploded. Millions of views, wild energy, and everyone thought he was the real deal. The videos were filled with red flags, real street dudes, and chaos that made him look unstoppable. But behind all that flash, it was smoke and mirrors. Tekashi played his part like a pro, but behind closed doors, it was all business. When the money started rolling in, greed kicked in heavy. Tekashi was bringing serious bags, but the split stopped being fair. Shotty and the higher-ups started taking more than their share, booking secret shows, pocketing stacks behind Tekashi's back. That's when the cracks started to show. Tekashi didn't feel like a partner anymore. He felt like a walking paycheck. They were eating off his fame, but wouldn't ride for him when things got real. So in 2018, he cut ties, fired Shotty, and announced to the world he wasn't rocking with 9 anymore. But here's the truth. You can't just walk away from a crew you were never really part of, especially when money and pride got mixed up in it. Not long after, Tekashi got snatched up, kidnapped, dragged into a car, beaten, robbed, all by the same people who used to scream Treyway next to him. That's when everything changed. Tekashi realized he was never one of them. He was just a tool, useful when the cash flowed, disposable when it didn't. But while the streets were turning on him, the feds were already watching. They had 9 under full surveillance, wiretaps, informants, everything. And Tekashi's name was all over it. He was on tracks yelling Treyway, standing next to guys facing real charges, and the feds were connecting the dots fast. Then November 2018 hit, boom! Federal indictments dropped. RICO, charges everywhere. Tekashi, Shotty, and the crew all got swept up. Tekashi was staring down 47 years. And let's be real, he wasn't built for that kind of time. Everybody knew it. So he made a choice that flipped hip-hop upside down. The moment the world would never forget. Yeah, Tekashi snitched, and he didn't hold back. He didn't dodge or sugarcoat a thing. He laid everything out. Names, dates, moves, the whole blueprint. He told on Shotty, Harv, Mel Murder, everybody. The streets went dead quiet. Then the clowning started. Memes, diss tracks, death threats. Tekashi became the most famous rat in hip-hop history. But guess what? He didn't care one bit. He stood on it like a badge. In his mind, they crossed him first. They kidnapped him, robbed him, plotted against him, so why would he take the fall for them? That logic made sense to him, but not to the streets. There's a code. Once you break it, it's over. Doesn't matter what they did. You talk to the feds, you're finished. Even industry OGs pressed him about it. On Off the Record, Whack 100 didn't hold back, and Tekashi had no choice but to admit the truth. That's the moment whatever little respect he had left in the streets disappeared. He wasn't a soldier. He was a sponsor who saved himself when the heat came down. And when he got out, instead of laying low, he flipped it, turned the rat into his brand. He dropped music videos with animated rats, laughed about it on live, and kept taunting his enemies like nothing happened. And when folks asked if he regretted it, Tekashi said it plain. To him, it was survival. To everyone else, it was betrayal. That's where Trippie Redd re-enters the story. They've been beefing since day one. Used to be cool, even dropped songs together. But the friendship crashed quick. And Trippie, he was one of the loudest voices laughing after Tekashi flipped. So when Ariela, the woman Tekashi loved, was found gone and rumors started pointing to Trippie, that reopened every wound Tekashi ever had. 6ix9ine Trey using him, Trippie mocking him, and the whole world clowning his name. That's why the courtroom went up in flames. That's why Tekashi completely lost it. Because when he looked at Trippie, he wasn't just seeing him, he was seeing everything that broke him. This ain't just about snitching. It's about a kid who got in too deep, tried to play both sides, and ended up standing alone. It's about how money, fame, and image flipped a wild Brooklyn kid into one of the most hated and talked about names in hip-hop. The streets gave him a pass until they didn't. He thought he found a family. Until that same family robbed him. He thought he could walk away. Until the feds kicked the door down. Tekashi might have survived prison, but he lost everything that mattered. His respect, his girl, his name in the streets. So when he saw Trippie standing in that courtroom tied to the biggest heartbreak of his life, all the pain, humiliation, and betrayal came crashing down at once. That's the moment the mask slipped, and Daniel Hernandez, not 6ix9ine, showed up. See the wild part? Tekashi escaped prison, but never escaped his past. Shadow 6ix9ine can laugh about being the rat, flex his jewelry, and scream into the mic, but the game don't forget. The law don't forget either. Every deal he made, every move with 6ix9ine Trey, every stunt he pulled, it's still there, hanging over him like a storm cloud. And no matter how untouchable he acts online, one wrong step could send him right back behind bars. But this story ain't just about Tekashi. It's about the price of pretending to be something you're not. This gangsta image didn't just destroy him, it bled into everyone close to him. His daughter, his baby moms, the women who held him down while he chased headlines, all got caught in the mess. And no one knows that better than Sarah Molina, the woman who was there before the fame, before Gummo, before the rainbow hair. She watched Daniel turn into 6ix9ine and watched the street life poison everything that once made him real. Their relationship was rocky from the start. Sarah stood by Tekashi through the rise, the chaos, and the attention chasing. But when he linked deep with 6ix9ine Trey, everything flipped. It stopped being about music and turned into pure danger. Police raids, wiretaps, death threats, every move Tekashi made dragged Sarah and their daughter into the line of fire. She said it herself. That's the side people don't see. While the internet laughed and made memes, she was living the nightmare for real. Cops kicking down doors, feds tapping phones, enemies creeping. Tekashi might have laughed it off, but Sarah was out here protecting a child. And then came the betrayal. Tekashi preached loyalty and code of the streets, but behind closed doors, he broke every one of them. Sarah shared stories of how he disrespected her, cheated, even turned aggressive, showing just how twisted the gang life had made him. It wasn't just his rivals catching it, it was his own home. But Sarah didn't just talk about pain. She exposed the bigger truth. She said Tekashi's whole gangster image was never built to end clean, and she was right. The feds might have given him a break once, but that don't mean they're done watching. Every time Tekashi pops out online, he stirs up trouble, attracts heat, and puts himself back on the radar. That courtroom meltdown with Trippie, it proved to everyone and to prosecutors that he hasn't changed a bit. Still reckless, still angry, still a walking time bomb. And Sarah made it clear, his choices didn't just ruin his reputation, they broke trust with his daughter. Tekashi loves to say he did it for family, but Sarah pulled the mask off that claim. That's the real tragedy. He risked decades behind bars, betrayed his crew, and still lost the one thing he claimed to be fighting for, his family. But the wild part, the people closest to Tekashi don't even feel his presence anymore. Zoom out and you'll see the same pattern playing out over and over. He chose the gang life for the image, betrayal for survival, and in the end, all he left behind was wreckage. 6ix9ine Trey got locked up, Sarah got humiliated, his daughter got distant, his rivals got more ammo, and now the justice system got receipts. Even Sarah warned him. And that's the cold truth. Tekashi dodged one bullet when he flipped, but judges don't hand out mercy twice. Prosecutors hate being made fools of, and the next time Tekashi crosses that line, there might not be a deal waiting. No reduced sentence, no early release, just the full weight of the law. The saddest part, everybody sees it coming. The streets know, the industry knows, Sarah knows, and deep down, Tekashi knows too. That's why he screams louder online, trolls harder, flashes more jewelry, because if he ever stops, he'll have to face what's real. Every move he made stacked the deck against him. So yeah, Tekashi might be laughing today and trending tomorrow, but when those courtroom doors slam shut again and the judge flips through that thick file of his, the past ain't going nowhere. And if Sarah's warning hits true this time, Daniel Hernandez might not be walking back out again. Yo, if you rocked with this deep dive, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Drop a comment with your thoughts below, and we'll catch you in the next one.